For time beyond memory, people have experienced at first hand physical, visual, and auditory events which could not be explained, and so it was feared. Today, we call this the paranormal. Our podcast will delve into this world of the unknown. So sit back and join Tina, Jake, Chris, Bridget, and Bill and journey into the darkness with us. Welcome to Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast, and this is episode 12, and this week we are going to be speaking about conspiracy theories. And of course, as always, we're going to get started there with Christopher giving his lovely intro as usual.
Always Chris.
Always Chris.
Well, sure, listen, Billy, we can't always be Chris, you know. I can't all be Chris. I said always be Chris. Can't all be Chris. Anyway, how you doing, guys? As Tina said there, this week is about conspiracy theories. Now, just disclaimer at the start, we're not saying these are true. It's just things that we've kind of looked into a little bit, and we're just reiterating. Would that be a good word to use? Reiterating.
That's it.
I like that word. That's the word of the week.
Do you like that word?
We're actually going from now on. I'm going to have a word of the week in every podcast.
Podcast.
A word in every 2 weeks.
Oh, very good.
Isn't that a good idea?
Actually, why not? So today's word is reiterating
Reiterate. I like it.
what we have found.
Send your ideas in, guys, of what words you want us to say in every podcast.
We'll throw them in.
Throw them in.
Everyone loves a good conspiracy. It's a couple of little things over the years you might have heard of. We're actually chatting before we came on there about the flat Earth and all that kind of stuff. But what if the world actually is flat?
Well, I live on a hill, so it's...
Does the water run up or down?
Does the badger run up a hill or down a hill? Or across a hill?
It can do both because it's a badger. So anyway, guys,
I said three things, by the way. Up, down, or across.
Or across.
Straight.
So that will let you know what way tonight is going to go.
Exactly. No, guys, we've picked a couple of conspiracy theories here to talk about, and as I said, PRI are not saying that these are true or anything at all like that. We're just reiterating what we've found on the research department of it. So it looks like I'm going first. Would you agree?
I do.
Absolutely.
It looks like I'm going first.
And last.
And last, yeah. And the conspiracy theory I'm going to talk about first of all is Plum Island. And I actually first heard about this was on a show. Actually, did you ever see a show a couple of years ago? It was actually called Conspiracy Theory. With,
I remember.
With Jesse Ventura.
Pray tell, Chris. Let us know what this is about.
Pray tell. But that's where I heard about this. It was Plum Island, but I actually rewatched it last night because, again, I knew we were doing this. I have a few episodes recorded at home. But anyway, long story short, Plum Island was founded in 1954 and it's located 70 miles off New York City, and it's located approximately 2 miles away from Long Island. It's a laboratory that they say carries out animal research and animal disease research and stuff like that. There is actually talks as well of it shutting down and moving to the middle of America. I think, if I remember correctly, it's gone into Kansas, somewhere along the lines. But listen, if anyone wants to correct me on that, I'm more than welcome. From what I could find, it's remaining open until December of this year. But I suppose getting into the conspiracy side of things, a lot of people have said or believe that it's not just animal disease research that's going on out there. It's actually animal-human hybrids, human experiments and all that kind of stuff going on out there.
Why am I not surprised?
Would you believe as well? They believe, or at the conspiracy as well, is that Lyme's disease. You've obviously heard of Lyme's disease.
From ticks.
Exactly. They believe that originated on this island as well, that they were experimenting and it just escaped by accident. Got off the island, and I think it was Connecticut is where the first case of Lyme's disease was discovered. But they reckon it came from Plum Island because we're doing experiments over there.
Now it's worldwide.
And yeah, it's crazy. Again, in relation to Plum Island, one of the most famous, I suppose, stories was the Montauk Monster, it's called. And that was basically on Montauk Beach, which is located close to the island. Back in 20... What was that noise? Oh, Jesus, there's a
conspiracy theory.
There's a conspiracy happening beside us, which the microphones probably won't pick up.
Disembodied voices.
Disembodied voices. One of Tina's dogs is kind of...
Talking.
Could have...
And dogs talk. There's a conspiracy theory.
Well, this dog could have actually been on Plum Island.
It could have been.
Well, tell us about that monster.
I know it's why Tina's not going much into it now.
Don't talk about my dog, lads.
Tell us
Leave
about
my
this
dog out of it.
Montauk Beach, Chris.
It was in July of 2008 in Montauk when this creature, as they say, washed up on the beach. By all means, Google it. I'll try to describe it as best I can, but my description will probably be nothing like what the picture will be. But if you Google Montauk Monster, you'll get the picture. This creature was fairly big. It had like a beak for a mouth and claws on it. No hair, no nothing like that. But when it washed up, it obviously caused a little bit of surprise in the community. It was taken away and examined, and when scientists examined it, they weren't able to actually state the exact species that it was. And obviously, people in the area reckoned that it was something that was created in the lab.
Yeah,
and
Big Bird was from Sesame Street, and that was around that area, wasn't it? It wasn't Big Bird that washed up on the beach.
Can we just take this podcast seriously for once?
Sounds like Big Bird, except the feathers.
It does, doesn't it? Actually,
Now that's the picture I have in my head. Fuck's sake, Billy.
And when they studied the currents and tides in the area, they reckon it's very, very possible that if this was dumped, but would you dump something like that? You probably wouldn't dump something like that, but if this thing escaped and died, and probably died in the water, whatever it is, they reckon it washed up due to the currents and tides.
So can I ask you, is the Montauk is a monster?
Montauk Monster, yeah.
Right. So let's say when that was found, was it on the news and was it on,
It was covered, I think.
Or is this something that people made up?
No, I
Was
think.
it covered?
I think there was newspaper articles.
I'd say there was
stuff
probably
like that.
local news.
Local
coverage.
news, yeah. And there was a gentleman again last night. He was on the program. I actually can't remember the man's name, but he covered it on his website and stuff like that as well.
Okay, so that's interesting.
But there is apparently inverted commas, there is pictures of this that washed up, but that wasn't the only one. There's meant to be at least another one or another two of these things that washed up as well, and they couldn't obviously state what they actually were. But more interestingly, not disrespecting animals in any way.
Or monsters.
Or monsters.
Just a quick one before you go further. Would this be like a human-animal hybrid, like
See,
that
that's-
movie Shutter Island?
Shutter Island. I haven't seen that in years, actually.
Yeah,
Actually, I haven't seen that in years, but
really good movie.
But that is the actual
Yeah, the premise of it. Yeah.
And as I said there, not to be disrespectful to animals or, as Tina said, monsters in any way, but that the next thing, another conspiracy is human experiments.
Okay.
Are reported also. So they say that a body was found on Plum Island Beach itself in January of 2010. And the things are supposed the characteristics that people noted was it had really long fingers, and there was 5 holes in, it was a male body, 5 holes in his head.
Okay.
So they're saying this came from a lab, it was experimented on,
Oh wow.
and had, like, for want of a better word, gangly fingers and all this kind of stuff as well.
Mad.
They've said there's been a number of accidents where individuals have been infected with disease, and there's been cases where infected sewerage has been disposed in water close by, and yeah, that's one of the conspiracies of Plum Island.
So what you're saying is that this island is an island that legally does animal experiments. So it's legally.
Oh
that.
yeah. It's
Perfect.
there is a lovely name, like it's the Animal Center for Disease Control, something along that line. So I probably mixed up the words, but yeah, it's fully out there, fully known. I think it's the government that's running it, but it's the what goes on behind closed doors scenario that people are going on about.
Yeah. Well, there's always going to be conspiracy theories about stuff like that, and
Yeah.
with the ocean as well, like the amount of creatures and that have been reported through the centuries that have been washed up on shores. And
Isn't there only like so much? I know we're not veering off topic, but isn't there only like something like 5% or 10% of the ocean
oh yeah,
explored, or something like that? I think.
Yeah.
So, do you remember in 2014 a flight that disappeared? Malaysia Flight 370.
I do.
Definitely rings a bell.
Yeah.
I remember something about it, yeah.
And the big. Now, there'll be loads of conspiracy theories around this because this flight disappeared, so it's never been found. And one of the conspiracy theories around that flight, so March 2014, there was 239 passengers on board. So did you ever hear, I'm going to go on like this, about, now this went viral, a young lad who got a DM, and it's called a Twitter voicemail theory, and it went absolutely viral on the internet. Viral, like it took off more than anything else. It was huge. So this guy, on the 13th of March, he got a voicemail in his. Okay, so when did this? Hold on. March. Okay, so it disappeared in March, and in the 13th of March, he got a voicemail, and he went onto Twitter and released this voicemail because it was a weird voicemail, and he was a bit of a personality on Twitter. TY was literally the name, so he was called something like Ty, Ty, TY,
yeah.
so his name was Ty. And the voicemail consisted of like Sierra, Delta, Alpha, all
this,
these
yeah.
that
Phonetic alphabet.
Yes. So that's what it consisted of, and it consisted of a load of numbers as well. So when he put it out on the internet, on Twitter, of course, it went viral. People started analysing what the numbers
decoding what it was.
Yeah, no, that was it. Now, yous are going to have to talk amongst yourselves like I don't want to say. No, I'm only messing. But I warned him, right, so hold on, an SOS to evacuate and be careful, they're not human. So the first message that was released when they decoded it was an SOS, you're in dire danger, you need to evacuate and be careful, they are not human. That's what it said. Okay, so that's what the Twitter thing said, and people were going, oh, it means this and it means that. And so when they spelled it all out, but then all the numbers consisted of around about the same place that this flight went down. So then people put it together again, and seemingly it said that it was
The longitude, latitude, location.
The
like 53 degrees north and 24.
That's what the numbers, and seemingly it was around the place that this plane didn't go down, that this plane disappeared.
All right.
And all of that was proven true. Then he got another message that came through on Twitter, and the other message was a warning. April 18th. It was a warning that he needs to get all this down. Then he started seeing people outside his house, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, taking pictures with a flash of the camera. And he was getting warnings and stuff like that. And then he decided, so they thought that this warning that he got was a black box. You know.
Oh,
black box
yeah.
communicating,
Yeah, the black box.
Sending out the coordinates.
Yeah, you see, that's it. You're getting it all now. I'm only getting bits of just hearing bits and pieces about it. So they think that was all the warning.
Yeah.
And they think that this plane disappeared because there was something on board the plane that wasn't human.
All right.
Okay,
Now, the guy that I was watching today that was given these YouTube stories and all on, he got in touch with this guy because this guy then went into hiding. It was getting too public for him, and people were calling him that he was lying and that there was this and that there was that and all. But he got in touch with him, and this guy said he never lied about it, that he did get that message that was meant to be about the Alpha, Delta, Sierra, these things. He did get it. He 100% got it, and he never lied about that. He never lied about somebody being outside taking photographs, and the only thing that he thought could be a lie would be, not a lie, the only thing he thought that could be something dubious was when he started getting warning on his DMs. That could be just people taking the piss.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But so that was my part of the conspiracy theory, because I'm wondering what you think of the amount of planes that have gone down. And
Yeah.
Look at places like the Bermuda Triangle and stuff like that.
That was one from when I'm growing up. We always heard about.
Oh, everyone.
Not that I remember.
Like the squadrons of planes have gone missing. There's theories. They thought they had solved it in the 80s or 90s. I saw a program where there was pockets of gas coming up.
Yeah.
And it was making the air less stable.
If it messes with the instruments in the plane and all stuff like that.
It still messes with the instruments in the plane, but when the planes fly over these pockets of gas, basically there's zero airflow over the plane, so the plane just drops, and it makes the ships less buoyant as well.
Yeah.
So have they found all the ones that have gone missing
No.
over the Bermuda Triangle?
Well, it's not just planes; it's ships.
But it's the
planes,
people.
ships, and all that. Yeah.
People have flown into the Bermuda Triangle. There was one, I cannot remember when. So I know I did see a program where a private plane was flying into it, and they flew into like a fog, and then there was like a blue light ahead of them.
Yeah.
And their instruments were going crazy, and they didn't know where they were, and they felt like they were flying for minutes, and apparently they were in there for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Or 7 hours. Because these little biplanes over there would have loads of fuel over in the States.
Yeah.
But and they came out some place completely away from where they were.
Is it a triangle if it's a round
Or
arc?
a circle?
Well, you can fit a triangle into a circle. Just has to be smaller.
Okay.
Chris.
So anyway, moving on.
We all know about small things, Chris, don't we?
Sorry, Chris, that was funny. Sorry.
That's
good.
Billy, stop
But anyway, so, and that's leading into UFO theories as well, because a lot of people are saying that planes and people were getting abducted by them. And look at that movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That's actually based on different events of conspiracy theories made into one movie. A lot of them are. Like Area 51 and places like that. Like there's conspiracy theories.
That's probably one of the world's most famous conspiracy theories is Area 51.
And then they're working on aliens, but they're what's the word? Backward technology.
Yeah, sure.
Reverse technology
and anti-gravity and all that kind of stuff as well.
And there's also, I would hear as well, productive programming.
Oh yeah.
You know, over in the States and things. Well, it's worldwide. It's not the States. That the government are doing productive programming with everything, and all this is doing is letting people. It's sort of it was like, let's say, the Twin Towers. That awful atrocity that happened there.
Absolutely.
But they had people nearly prepared for that from years and years and years ago by cartoons, films, loads of cartoons. So it was like getting the kids when kids grew up then. So it's like all these things the government are preparing you for, so it's not a big shock, so they know exactly what's going to be coming up or happening. That's a big conspiracy worldwide. You know.
What I'm going to do just for the because I know you want to have a chat as well, Billy, about your massive research that you've done tonight.
He's so excited.
He's so
Look at him. He's jumping.
I'm chomping at the bit here. I'm actually chomping at the bit.
But what I'm going to do just for the laugh, I'm going to just rattle off a couple of conspiracy theories that come to my mind to see
if 50 now.
To see
if I don't have to talk anymore.
To see do they relate or have you heard of them, alright? So obviously the first one you've said it, Billy, Area 51. Everyone's I'm sure has heard of that. The next one that jumps to mind is the moon landing.
Yeah.
We never landed on the moon.
Which I will talk about. I want to talk about that a bit in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
We never landed on the moon. That's another one. Another conspiracy theory, which was on that show that I used to watch, was HARP. They say that the government was able to control the weather by sending up, if I remember correctly, I think they're sending up like electricity up into the clouds and all this kind of stuff to control the weather. That was another one. The flat Earth. That's another huge one. I suppose everyone's very much aware.
Very, very well known.
Another one is that Paul McCartney. You've probably heard that one as well, have you?
I haven't actually heard that one. He can sing.
But Paul McCartney actually passed away, like whenever it was, and it's actually a double.
Wow.
And they didn't want to lose whatever it was, all the money and all this kind of stuff. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, whatever. Another one is I find this one really funny, but I shouldn't be laughing because that rocks aren't actually solid until you touch them.
Yeah, there's some really strange ones.
There's brilliant
We were
ones.
talking about there's one where a conspiracy theory that there's nothing behind you and you don't until you look in that direction. Or we're in a matrix, we're all in a video game.
Really, that ruined a lot of horror films that were ever made. If there was nothing
Don't look
behind you,
yeah.
if there was nothing behind you,
You just close your eyes. You don't
Close
even
your
have to
eyes.
run then.
But there's so many. Sure, the Denver airport is another one.
Yeah.
You've heard that conspiracy theory that
Yeah.
it was built when they didn't even need an airport, but there's something underneath it
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
And do we have the pyramids? There's more conspiracies about them and the
Yeah.
ancient rituals and
Yeah,
that they were built by aliens. And
yeah. They were though.
I'm not saying they were aliens, but
Probably were built by aliens. Sure,
Time travel.
yeah, time travel. That's another one. Stonehenge. Was it Stonehenge or there's another one? No, actually, maybe it wasn't Stonehenge. There's another one of those
apparently
structures that was
there's
a
a
landing
portal
pad.
in Dublin as well. I've heard there's a portal in Dublin to New York.
To New York.
Yeah, wow. Like,
Yeah, it's amazing.
isn't it?
Yeah, like technology's really came along.
Really
But,
has.
but yeah, apparently one of those stone structures was actually meant to be a landing pad for alien spacecraft. But yeah, everyone's heard a conspiracy.
Yeah.
There's always something out there, and you have to love a good conspiracy. Now, do I believe them? I take every one of them with a pinch of salt. I love listening to them.
Yeah.
I love them. Oh, Jesus, I'm going to say a wrong word there. I love the in-depth analysis of them.
Some of them are outright outlandish. Like, but some of them, like, what I'm going to just brief discussion on in a moment, the moon landing, are kind of, they make you think.
Yeah.
Some of them are like outlandish, like the rocks are soft until you touch
I
them.
only heard that
Did you ever get
recently.
hit in the head with a rock?
Yeah, but it hasn't. You
Yeah,
see,
that's all.
yeah, but it's only because the person's picked it up.
Oh yeah, but in the mid-air then, so it
Turns back to jelly.
it turns back to jelly. It doesn't look like jelly when it's flying through the air. Really doesn't.
But I only genuinely just heard that one. Have you heard that one before?
I've never heard that one, Chris.
Well, I think I only heard that very recently. That yeah, rocks aren't real or rocks aren't solid until you touch them.
I only heard it recently because you haven't shut the fuck up about it since you've heard it recently.
Is there any rocks around here? Are you really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think more. Actually, what conspiracies come to your mind?
Well,
moon.
the moon landings.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that one, Billy.
They back in 1969 when they first landed on the moon. Like, to say that we haven't been back to the moon, it's kind of like a lot of people are saying, well, how come we had the technology then?
Yeah.
It was
Exactly.
fly by wire back then. It was called as well. So the technology, like your smartwatch is has more brain power, computer power than
The same
and the
thing,
Apollo 11, like, or any of the moon landing machines. I believe they tried. Like, personally, I actually kind of don't think that they landed on the moon, because Apollo 13 they tried to land on the moon, but some of the photographs,
Are very amateur.
it's not even that, but you have to think about when you're in space, the brightest source of light that we have is the sun.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have a flash on a camera, there's nothing going to be brighter than the sun unless it's a supernova. There was 2 shadows cast on the moon, which to my mind is impossible with the sun because there's no atmosphere on the moon. So, like, when the ship took off on the moon, there's a video of a film of it taken off. Who was on the moon?
Well, that's
Or
what I was
that-
going to say. There's a photograph of or video of him stepping down out of the
Yeah.
Apollo. So he wasn't the first
He
man.
wasn't the first man on the moon. They again, it was all fly by wire then. So, like, if they did, I just don't think they had the technology. I personally don't think that. So
Yeah.
I kind of do believe in that.
You think it was done in a studio? But there's another one saying that they did land on it, and the only reason we didn't go back is because we found something.
We
on
found
it.
something on it. There are photographs and videos or film of back in the 60s and 70s, and it looks like there are structures on the moon. It's quite strange to see it.
They said there's another one.
It's hollow.
Hollow.
Yeah.
So that's the hollow Earth theory as well.
Yeah, the moon is hollow.
And the moon is a spaceship,
yeah,
like an alien spaceship, just monitoring the Earth.
yeah.
But yeah, that's another big one that we landed there, and the reason we didn't go back is because we
We were told not to go
yeah,
back. Yeah.
they found like something on it or something. There was a threat or something on it. not to
There
go
are
back.
conspiracy theories that we've already got bases on Mars and we
Yeah.
have bases on the moon as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of theories.
You gotta love. I think you gotta love good conspiracy
You
theories.
do.
don't you?
What do you think about the moon landing? Do you believe it?
Hey,
I'll ask Tina the same question.
Judging, and I'd love to think that we did do it.
I personally would.
Think that we did do it. Like, I'd love to have a microscope powerful enough just to zoom in on that exact location, see is the flag there, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
a microscope? You mean a telescope?
Touche. It's just one of those events.
There's a conspiracy theory. The moon is an atom.
It's just one of those events. I actually did say microscope as well.
You did.
Yeah.
That's why I corrected you.
I'd love to have a telescope. Edit. It's hard to believe we done it with the technology back then. I'd like to think we did do it. If you were to ask me straight out, did we do it? I'd say yeah, probably. I probably would say yeah.
Why haven't we gone back? I'm just genuinely discussing. Like, why
but they did go back after them, didn't they? Except it was costing too much.
But why haven't we gone back since? Like, we have the technology now to...
Well, there is talk. Well, apparently, I think there is talks of going back.
Oh yeah, there is now in 2028, I think.
Yeah, when they have the technology.
When we have the technology. Well, what do you think, Tina? Do you yes or no?
I think
or
the same
on
might
the fence?
be. Yeah, I'd be on the fence because you'd like to think they did.
Yeah.
But then my head would be saying, if they did, how could we not do it before
Yeah.
now? If they done it before with that technology,
And it even
technology has evolved. So
Yeah,
I'm sure
and it
they would
even
have
goes
better technology.
so far to say that the astronauts were hypnotized to believe they were on the moon and everything. Like, I think that's a bit far fetched, but I don't know.
The same as me. I just don't know.
There's after leading into another conspiracy, the Manchurian Candidate.
Oh yes,
You've heard of that one, yeah?
Yes.
Where the person, it's like a trigger word, and when this person hears this word, is it
assassination?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what,
like an assassin.
Become an assassin.
Yeah, there's a movie. Yeah,
Denzel Washington.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
Great movie.
It's actually a good movie.
Yeah.
Plug. But there's, again, we keep going back to the fact that no matter where you go, if you're online, like any form of
there's
online,
a rabbit hole of
you're going down the rabbit hole with any
down.
scenario of conspiracies because they're just all out there. Sure, you've got the conspiracy that the reptilian people rule the governments.
Lizard people,
yeah.
And one government rules the
other,
world.
rules the whole world. Yeah. What do you think is the most interesting conspiracy theory? Actually, we forget about the moon landing because I suppose all the listeners will have a fair idea. Other than that, which conspiracy theory do you think might be real? Of what we've named tonight.
Definitely not the flat Earth.
Why is that, Billy?
Because we have sent rockets into space and we do have satellites in space that do photograph the Earth on a daily basis. Weather balloons, etc., etc.
I don't know who made this meme.
Yada, yada, yada.
There is a meme. I don't know who made it, but it's literally a lamp. And it's spitting down onto the Earth when it's flat. And it's daylight all the time. No disrespect to any flat earthers
I
out
was
there.
just about to say that if people do believe it and they're listening to our podcast, fair play to you.
But so definitely not flat Earth. What do you think possibly could be real?
I'd have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah, that's not something I could say straight away.
I have to get back to you on that one.
Well, you tell us, what do you think possibly could
and
be
we might
real?
agree with you.
Yeah. That might lead us to an answer.
Yeah.
Well, the portal in Dublin's real.
Is it though? Because it's been shut down.
It's reopened.
Oh, it's reopened
It's
again.
been
Unless it's shut down and somebody else shut
It's
their
in the wrong
boobs.
place.
Shut their boobs again.
It's in the wrong place.
What other one could be real?
The Mothman prophecies, there's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. You know what? Well, no, actually.
But we'll ignore that anyway. What are you saying, Chris?
You know what would be very interesting if it was real? The Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was listening at it's again veering off topic from my point of view. A while ago, bedtime stories on YouTube. But I think he told a story similar to your one. There was planes and they had radio contact, but when they were flying through, the whole landscape's the wrong word because they're over water. But that all changed, and it was like the sun was in a different position in the sky and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's like a funnel cloud.
Yeah. So I'd love to know what is going on there.
Yeah.
Is it just like bad luck? Is it just like the nature of the the water or whatever it is there.
Like being on Earth, like having an accident, black spot on a road.
Yeah.
It's psychologically
Unfortunate.
that, like, because the Bermuda Triangle has such a powerful conspiracy about it. Like,
Yeah.
if you were flying through that and something happens,
Oh, sure, that's straight away.
yeah. Because years ago there was a phenomenon on planes called,
St. Elmo's fire.
and they used to believe it wasn't real. It's actually static building up on the nose of the plane,
All right.
and it's like an aura of colours that come up over the plane. It's actually real. And then there was pilots for years were saying when they were flying over thunderstorms, they were seeing these shoots of red and blue going up over thunderclouds, and then they discovered that they're real and they're called sprites.
Yeah, because every time a lightning
Yeah.
strikes, as they say, one goes up.
Yeah,
so-
and these things go up 60 kilometres into the
Yeah,
atmosphere.
yeah, yeah.
These go up. And then there's another phenomenon that they're after finding as well, even higher than them, that come out of the sprites.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, lightning actually doesn't start from the sky. It actually starts from the ground first and then goes.
I did hear that.
I didn't. Genuinely no.
Starts from the ground first.
No, genuinely didn't know
Fault
that.
lightning, yeah.
Any other conspiracies that jump to your mind?
The Area 51, like
That's
there was a
a
guy
huge
that
one.
worked there called Bob Lazar.
I've seen that
and
interview. Yeah.
He's fascinating to me
Yeah.
because he says he worked there
I remember him.
and he was reverse engineering stuff, and that he
Anti-gravity
met the Greys and
yeah.
he saw them. Yeah.
Wasn't it? Didn't he tell a story that you had to have a partner, for want of a better word,
Yeah.
and when you were walking through, it was like armed guard,
Yeah.
and you wanted to look left or right. You had to keep
Jesus.
looking straight ahead
Yeah, that's right.
until you got to your bay
Department,
or
yeah.
department, we'll call it. It was a very if you haven't listened to that interview, and as in the listeners haven't listened, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, Billy? Like, even if you Google Map it, actually I haven't done it in a while.
If you Google Map it, it's not there.
It's not there.
It's blank. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but that's an American government.
So
flight
it-
base anyway. So
It's going to be
They have to-
military.
yeah.
Yeah.
because the Black Hawk, I think it is, isn't it, or the Blackbird? Sorry,
Yeah.
that was all invented, created there and stuff. So like, which is fair. Like they have their
Yeah.
secrets.
I know.
I
Well,
suppose,
that makes sense.
but that gets you into a whole world then of do UFOs exist? Because
Yeah.
you know,
So on the same topic, I'm going to ask Tina in a second, but go back to conspiracy theory with Jesse James. He done an Area 51, and he actually went to it. Went to the last town before you get to this place, to Area 51. Now, Area 51 is obviously massive, but there's actually, if I remember the episode, there's poles or like fence posts hammered down into the ground, and if you go down past there, they're authorized to use force. Now, this is like miles and miles away from the base,
Jesus.
and they have towers with satellites on them that they can hear what you're talking about. And like while now, I don't know if it was done for the camera or for the show, but while they were there, a white Jeep pulled up onto one of the
I've
hills.
seen that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Well, they've pulled the border back from it as well, so you can't. You used to be able to go up so far to it, but
Yeah.
they've pulled it back now. And the bushes and all have camera surveillance.
That's what I mean.
cameras.
Yeah. There's,
On that note, right?
Yeah.
Here's one for you: Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh yeah.
oh, Billy, you shouldn't have done this. No, I'm going to be talking
Skinwalker
for
Ranch.
50. How much?
It's
hardly-
okay. Like I just fascinated by Skinwalker
That
Ranch.
is one place I would, because apparently it's the most paranormal hotspot.
It's a burial ground for
Yeah.
American Indians.
Yeah.
So tell us
originally, I think,
where is
wasn't
Skinwalker Ranch?
Is it Utah?
Utah,
I think it's Utah or very close by. It's Utah, or that could be. It's either Utah or there's another ranch in Utah that
And
was
it's
similar.
going back to what year?
Oh, this place goes back to fucking, like, this is years and years ago, but they're saying there's everything on it. Like, there's UFOs, there's
Yeah.
cryptids, there's poltergeist all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Is
it's in Ballard, Utah.
Yes, I got
It's
something
also
right.
called Sherman Ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sherman. See, the Shermans owned it. I think they were the ones that kind of capitalized, or no, sorry, that's the wrong word, not capitalized. I think they were the ones that kind of
Put it out there.
exactly
initially.
brought all the stories to a head, so to speak. But like, their stories going back there years.
Have people?
1970s, actually.
Yeah.
Is that the
Yeah.
first?
It's 1970s, and then the claims about the ranch, they first appeared in the year 1996.
Yeah.
Have the owners of the ranch, have they let people in to do
No.
their own?
So the current owner
Yeah.
is a millionaire, and he
Okay.
wants to, if I'm remembering this all right now, he wants to clarify. But he has a team, like a private team, that's made up of physicists and all this kind of thing. There's a show about it.
Yeah.
There's a show.
Yeah, and it has the famous where because it's happened actually. It's kind of Skinwalker Ranch has one thing in common with animals being mutilated around the world. Scotland gets it a lot, where they're getting these precise laser, like they're disemboweled or their eyes will be taken out, or but it's done so precisely that, and we'll get into it as well in a few minutes. Crop circles
are huge. Yeah.
But back to Skinwalker Ranch, Chris.
Skinwalker Ranch it's one place I'd love to just get into and just have a look around. As I said, the current owner does have a team in there. There is a TV show about it, but they're in there just experimenting. Carrying out experiments. There's one lad, and he's very well qualified. You'd be saying to yourself, listen, this has to be a plain shooter, so to speak. He has to be very level-headed. I can't remember his exact, but it's like an ex-NASA physicist or so. I don't know what it is, but it's something along those lines. But like some of the stories is that when the family moved in, they had bought a ranch, and cows were in their fields, in the pens, and literally they looked out across the plains, as you want of a better word, and seen a huge, gigantic wolf walking up, and it was very like wagging its tail and all. But when it got near one of the cows, it latched onto the neck, and the father said to the son, "Go in and get me gun." And when he shot it, the wolf didn't even acknowledge the gunshot that it received. Shot it again, and he said he could see the skin flying off it, like didn't even acknowledge it.
I've heard that story.
Yeah, and when they followed it, the wolf finally let go, turned around, and just didn't run away, just walked away. And they followed the tracks, but then as they followed the tracks, they just disappeared. They were gone. It's like it just literally someone came along and picked the wolf up and went, you know what I mean? Went on. There's lights seen, and they thought there was people like hunting at night time, but the lights, when they got near the lights would move away. They get near them again, the lights would move away again, but really quick. They couldn't understand what was causing it. There was stuff hiding up in the trees, like this beast was meant to be hiding up in the trees and stuff
There's
like
loads
that.
connected
Oh, there's
with it.
loads of
There's
stories.
loads of stuff like on TV about it, like the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, Project Blue Book. There's Portals to Hell. It's been on TV a lot.
Yeah, but even like you go to the YouTube, even on YouTube, there's loads of stuff on there as well. But yeah, I think wasn't there meant to be poltergeist stuff there? I think it is a mixture of everything. Maybe
It sounds like just
I think there's a mixture of everything.
One thing about with Skinwalker Ranch and all these things as well, that are conspiracy theories, but they're also related to a word called pseudoscience.
Yeah.
So it's a word that's kind of tossed around, which basically means that it's outside the realms of science that's proven.
Yeah.
And a lot of scientists don't believe it, but then there are scientists now who are actually coming on board with this type of stuff. And more and more people believe in it. Really interesting.
What's that one? Now I could be completely taking a bypass on what we're talking about now. But what's that? It's just when you're talking about islands and shows and stuff like that. What's the one where they're looking for the treasure?
Orc
Island.
We're looking for the treasure. I actually don't know, Chris.
I think it's Oak Island.
I haven't seen it.
At the Curse of Oak Island.
The Curse of Oak Island. Yes. It's on Discovery or something like that.
No, I don't know if that's a conspiracy, but I don't know if it fits our narrative tonight. But yeah, they're looking for treasure. Like they're digging places. They're finding like clues on the island and all this kind of stuff.
I remember that. Yeah,
that's another area. People will be going down the rabbit hole.
Well, that leads us on to things like crop circles. There's a lot of them in England.
Yeah,
and I know some of them are hoaxes, but some of them where the corn was actually, it would look like it had popped inside.
Yeah.
So like they can't figure out that, and they're so intricate.
Oh, was that in a movie or was that in a show? I see.
It's in a movie.
But the other
Mel Gibson.
Oh, that's a great film. Signs.
Yeah, Signs.
That's a great film. But was it in a movie or something? We'll call it the knuckle on the stem of the corn.
Knuckle,
It was actually bent.
Yeah.
It was snapped, like, and they're saying it's near
impossible. But they're all snapped
to
in the same spot.
But it's near impossible to do this.
Now, there are people out there who are professional crop circle makers.
Oh yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's an art form.
Why would they be? Oh,
it's an art form to them. There are video footage. There are video footage.
Yeah.
There does be. There is video footage. I remember seeing it years ago of a crop circle being formed, and it was like this little silver ball that was in the middle of a field, and it was just going around.
Right. Yeah.
It's meant to be a genuine video.
It's meant to be a genuine video. Yeah.
It's on that subject. Remember the three videos of the UFOs that the government released?
Oh,
when
yeah.
they actually said
the UAPs now they're
we
called.
actually can't identify what these are. Remember the
Released
fighter
by the
jets?
Navy, yeah.
Yeah, and
The Tic Tacs.
yeah, exactly.
That's right, yeah.
Exactly. And the other conspiracy is that in the year 2028, I think, in the year 2028, they're going to actually reveal that there is aliens out there. But all this is preparing us.
Yeah, well, the US government now have a field, a department actually just dedicated to UAPs.
Yeah, I know.
The guy, I can't remember the guy's name. He's an ex-Navy SEAL or a pilot. I think he's an ex-pilot, but he is disclosing a lot of stuff now, and he's doing a lot of the research on it.
Okay.
And these Tic Tacs, like, they've been reported a lot.
Yeah.
And there is video footage of one in Afghanistan, I think, where there was a drone and it was filming something, and you could see this UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's called now. It's not called UFO anymore.
Yeah.
And,
Get it right.
I know. Yeah, it's but a UAP, and you see this weird object going across the field of vision on the camera.
All right.
But these things apparently one of them came up out of the water, this Tic Tac, and just hovered above the water, and then just it shot along at like 200 knots, which is virtually impossible, and then just back into the water again.
It's great. And sure, isn't the Arctic something to do with it's meant to be an alien base?
Oh, there's a base down there,
Just a
yeah.
base. Just to tell you, we didn't realise we had as much on conspiracy theories until we got talking.
Yeah.
And loads of it connected with aliens.
Oh, aliens.
Yeah,
is
I think that's
You know
the
what I
biggest
mean?
conspiracy theory. That's
like you think exactly. So you think
It all goes back
conspiracies.
to the one thing.
It's great, like moon landing, aliens, Area 51. Like they're all the real common.
There is
conspiracies.
apparently a satellite called
The Black Knight satellite.
Yeah, and planet.
Chris is doing a little dance here.
There is a planet 9 as well, isn't it? And they think that this planet is in the solar system because of the way Pluto and Neptune. Pluto comes inside Neptune's orbit and then goes back out, so they think there's a gravitational pull. So they can't find this planet, but they think that there's a planet X out there that's just in the solar system. That's
All right.
a rogue planet, I think it's called. Or something.
Here's the question now that we've delved into it a little bit. Why do you think there would be conspiracy theory? Do you get what I'm trying to say there?
I think
Like,
people want to believe, and maybe to make life a bit more exciting, that there's something more out there.
Yeah. But I mean, in any sense, let's just say for talk's sake, the flat earth, and again, I'm not picking on flat earthers by any means, but flat earth, whatever. Why do you think that is a conspiracy, if that makes sense?
I think flat earth is more like, don't get me wrong on this, I might say, is more of a cult than it is of a belief, of a conspiracy theory. Because those people wholeheartedly,
There's a whole following for it.
Nothing will dissuade them either way. Now, I'm not trying to insult anybody who believes it out there.
I know that's understandable.
That's my personal thing. But personally, I do believe that like we're going earlier about the moon, stuff like that, I personally do believe that there are such things as UAPs and stuff like that. I genuinely do believe that we're being visited.
And do you think it's because we haven't been, like, people haven't been truthful with us? Do you get what I'm trying to get the angle?
Well, it
I'm
all
trying to go
comes
down
down
there?
to Big Brother, the government are hiding something. A lot of people want to believe, the government are doing this, the government are doing that, but they might be doing it for protection. Like, because you imagine if they came out tomorrow and said, right, aliens are visiting us, like, society would go crazy. Like, religions, like, what would religions think? Like, you believe in whatever. Like, society would go literally crazy if it was just sprung on us tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If an alien ship came down tomorrow and landed in Dublin or anywhere in Ireland or anywhere in the world, like, society would literally go, like, I think it would go crazy anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
And Tina, the same question to you.
What was the question, Chris?
She's not even listening. No, why do you think there is the question? Like, why do you think there is conspiracy theories out there? Is because people believe they're not being told the truth, or people have seen something that they can't explain, or people
I
just don't
think
like the norm?
it's human nature.
That's probably the best answer to give.
Your
It's
point of
human nature.
and your point of seeing something that they can't explain.
But people, they won't accept, anything as word anyway. People will always have different views and all of that's where conspiracy theories come in. It's just human nature.
Yeah, me and my friends actually one night thought we saw a UAP. It was a really cold night. We were sitting down at the seafront. We were just looking up, and we saw what we thought was a satellite, and it was going across the sky, and it just changed direction, and it was gone.
All right.
like just a little pinprick of light, and it just went across. Now, obviously, it was whatever how high, so there's no noise or anything like that. But it just you could see it going across, and it just stopped, and then just changed direction. It
Yeah.
was gone, and I haven't seen anything like it since.
Okay.
You know, but it was weird, and that was going back 20 years ago. But we definitely there was 5 or 6 of us. We all saw it.
You said it earlier then as well, Billy. There's the other, another theory is that we're actually living in a simulation.
Yeah.
That the Matrix actually is real.
Yeah.
Can you actually
Well,
imagine?
religion is a conspiracy theory when you think about it.
Whoa.
It is.
Okay.
Lucky Jake's not here.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate the
This
listenership.
was our last podcast. So all religion. That's some people think that religion is a conspiracy theory. It's an ancient conspiracy theory, but
Right.
it's still it's
Classed.
classed. Some people think not personally. I don't. But
Another one I heard recently was in 2020. We shifted dimension.
And did you feel it? Like,
Yeah, there's a bit of a.
is that when the euro came in?
But no, because I was on one of the, again, I love listening to YouTube. A lot of YouTube stuff I listen to. I was on one of those channels. I can't remember which one. Anyway, they reckon it shifted dimension in 2020 because very little people can remember the summer of 2020. Now I know that was the height of the pandemic and stuff like that, but they say that was a dimensional shift.
I can remember it vividly. So
What did you do?
What?
I want a day-by-day synopsis.
I went to the beach. Went to work. I had food.
Jesus Christ.
I can't remember yesterday, so there's no point in me even trying to remember
But
2020.
no, that is saying that was one of the. I think actually that was some dude on TikTok. I think he's like very well known as regards conspiracies. I think, and that was one of the things. It was a dimensional shift in 2020.
I think some of the conspiracy theories border on the ridiculous. Personally,
Oh, well, you're
I
going
really
to get
do.
the. You're
Like,
going to get
I really,
the,
really
yeah.
do.
Well, they dig at them. They
You know,
literally dig at 'em.
and onto our genre of music, some people in the 70s and 80s thought that
Oh, I
if you
loved
played
this.
a metal record backwards, that I think it was a Beatles record.
There was Beatles, I think, as well. There was a Led Zeppelin one?
Led Zeppelin, yeah.
I think there was a Led Zeppelin one. But the Beatles one goes back to the Paul McCartney.
That's right.
It says, oh my God, I can't remember now. It's something to do with that. And then on the, because I'm a huge Beatles fan, as you can tell.
Yeah, we all are.
What's that one, the real famous album?
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper. What was it? Dr. something, whatever it was.
Pepper, yeah.
But they're all on the front of the album. They're all doing similar poses, but Paul is doing a different pose, and that's meant to simplify that he's not with them anymore and all, all this kind of stuff. That would be absolutely tragic if that was the case, but again, I'm only reiterating what there's the word again tonight's word.
Well done, Chris.
I'm only reiterating what the conspiracy is meant to be. Yeah, reiterating. Thanks, Billy.
You reiterated that. Say that again, Billy. Reiterated.
But there's a lot of stuff in the music industry as well. Sure, it's the Illuminati.
Oh yeah.
That was the other one as well. But yeah, it's an interesting. I always love listening to a good conspiracy.
Yeah, it is. It's great. And I think, guys, we've talked a hell of a lot about conspiracies tonight.
More than what we thought.
Yeah, so my personal opinion, and the one conspiracy theory that I kind of do believe in, well, two, kind of the moon landing in 69 and definitely UFOs or UAPs.
Yeah.
I do genuinely think there's something behind that. That's my personal
So
opinion.
just before we do, would you think there's something in Area 51?
Oh, definitely.
alien?
I do think so.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, no, okay, yeah.
Because wasn't it Roswell?
Yeah.
And they thought they found a spaceship, and then the government came and said it was
Weather balloon.
it was a weather balloon, and
Weather balloon, yeah.
the guy that found it was saying no, it wasn't. That was not what I found. you know.
Yeah.
And these people that are the eyewitnesses, they're credible people. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of them are credible people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Is there any conspiracy theory? I know we kind of jumped on it earlier, but the one that you think could be true before we wrap
No,
up.
not the one I think could be true, but the one I would have had, the one that I remember from when I was younger, the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
But it's not the one, because I don't have a clue what's going on in the Bermuda
I
Triangle.
think that's one of the scariest.
I just remembered that as a kid. I don't even
no,
know who
it's-
told me. That was probably the first conspiracy theory told to me that I remember.
Back in the 60s,
Yeah,
that
back
you
in
would
the
have been told.
40s actually. But something that I remember that there was no sense of. You're in big trouble. Fuck's sake.
Because the conspiracy theory that Billy just vanished on the way home.
Tina was born in the 90s for anybody who listens.
Billy,
And she
you've
looks every day younger and younger.
Hole, you've dug it. But Bermuda Triangle would be I'm most interested in. And
Would you fly through it?
Would I fly through
Yeah.
it? Oh, jeez. Like,
Your arms be very sore.
oh, fuck's sake, yeah. If I could organise a way around it, but if I had to fly through, if I could, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Wouldn't you feel there would be some kind of feeling there, though, wouldn't there?
There would.
If you're going through, like, if you're sailing or flying through that, you're going,
And because there's
You'd
no
feel
landmark,
pessimist.
there's no landmark to say that if you're at the end of it. So
Yeah.
when is it?
yeah,
And you're flying over the Pacific Ocean, like, so you're, or it's the Atlantic actually. Sorry,
yeah.
Oh,
It's
specific,
it's the Atlantic.
isn't it?
The Atlantic.
You sure?
Yeah,
Google.
I'm sure it's.
While we're
it's-
talking, Google there. I'll go Pacific.
He won't sleep tonight if you don't Google that.
Billy's doing a quick fact check.
But
So
that is interesting. Would I fly over it? I'm just saying, like, if it was going to take 16 hours off a plane journey,
off a trip.
yeah. If it was going to get me off, I'd still have to consider, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, it'd definitely be in the back of your mind, wouldn't it?
yeah. Oh no, 100%. I admit that.
Yeah.
Whether,
It's the Atlantic Ocean, and it's also known as the Devil's Triangle.
oh, I like that.
Devil's Triangle.
That's terrible.
Is it the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah,
though,
it's Miami and all that area down
Chris
there.
is fucking
Florida.
Chris, you can look at Chris's face. He's questioning everything he ever said.
But that could be the conspiracy. It's probably in the Pacific.
It's Bermuda, Puerto Rico, Florida. Bermuda, Puerto Rico, and Florida.
Okay, Billy, you don't have to
Pacific.
rub it in.
Pacific.
How big is it?
It
does actually say there, does it?
It does say here, but it's in centimeters. So
Oh, centimeters, right? That's a lot of rulers. But yeah, no, it'd be definitely in the back of your mind if you're flying or sailing through that. There's definitely. I don't think anyone could do it without saying, it's
But
grand.
if I could avoid it, I'd avoid it. Would you fly over it?
If I had to, yeah.
Yeah, that's the same.
If I had
if
to.
you had to.
If
That's the same
I
as
had
me.
to.
If I could avoid it, I
Yeah.
would.
it's 0.50 to 1.51 million square miles.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Is that all?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't walk it like
You would.
or swim it?
But obviously I'm not. But it'd have to be obviously someone else in control as well, because I'd end up. It'd be too much on your mind.
No, my luck,
think-
I'd end up sailing through it, so it'd take weeks.
It would take weeks, and then you'd just be sucked down
Yeah.
and be gone.
Well, in our time, Billy, it'd be only 2 minutes.
2 minutes, because we were born in the 90s, 1890s.
Well, yeah, that was an interesting conversation.
really, really
As I
good
said,
conversation.
and I'm sure the two of us will agree, PRI are not saying any of this is true, any of it's false, any of it's negative. We're just saying what we've found.
And guys, just on a side note, if you noticed that we had no Jake tonight,
I
Jake's
was
a
just
little bit
about to
unwell,
say it.
so
Yeah.
we wish him well.
Or is he?
Or is he? Is that a conspiracy?
That could be the conspiracy.
Man flu, is that a conspiracy theory?
Oh Jesus!
Isn't it strange that we're talking about conspiracy
He'll kill
theories and Jake wasn't here?
No, all joking aside, Jake, we wish you well, and
Actually,
he'll be at the next podcast.
we've never seen Billy and Jake in the same place at the same time.
No.
Well, guys, I wanted to tell you for so long.
Jake, you were missed this evening. But listen, guys, yeah, that was it.
So,
Really good podcast. So thank you,
Yeah.
Chris, and thank you, Tina, and thank you,
So-
Bill. Thank you, myself. And thank you,
That's it.
Jake. Thanks, Bill.
In spirit, yeah. Thanks. So that's from myself, Tina.
Bill.
And Chris, and as always, stay conspiracy.
You have been listening to Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast. Intro and outro music, Nothing to be Scared of but Kukuru. Main theme background music, Ominous Light by Amber Glow. Both intro, outro and main theme music sourced through the Epidemic Sound app. PRI podcast recorded and produced by Jake and edited and mixed by Bill using Adobe Audition. We hope you enjoyed our podcast, so why not join us for our very next supernatural podcast coming very soon.